Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna be talking all things dark romance. If you didn't know, I am a dark romance girly through and through. Mafia romances are my guilty pleasure. Don't let these little colorful books fool you because I eat up dark romance like it's my job. So without further ado, let's get into these book recs. First up is the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. I have only read the first 4 in this series. I know there's 2 others that I have not read yet, so I'm only going to talk about these first 4. This is an interconnected series, so you do not need to read these in order. I recommend it because it's just a little bit more fun that way, but each book is like a different family member. So it's a lot of fun, different tropes, different storylines, but they're all relatively about one family, and you'll see them kind of like filtered through in each book, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so this is the Brutal Birthright series. First book is Brutal Prince. The one thing I really love about Sophie Lark and just like some other dark romance authors is you look at this book and the first thought in your head is not that this is a dark romance. So I love discreet covers for that reason. This one is an arranged marriage and an enemies to lovers. So 2 rival families, one, their daughter and then the son are forced to marry each other for like an alliance within the family, and they absolutely hate each other. What I love so much about this is like usually the girl is kind of like, she lets the guy walk all over her, not Ada. Ada is a badass. She makes this man work for it. Like, it is so good. The banter, they just like, it's like mutual. They both just hate each other and just fight all the time, but she doesn't take it. Like, she gives it right back to him, and it's so good. Sophie Lark is my guilty pleasure author. Like, she's one of my favorites. Her writing is just insane. I love it so much, so highly recommend the first book. Second book is Stolen Heir. So this is, again, the next member in the family, so it is one of the sisters. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I think it's like a Russian, I think. If I'm not mistaken, he's Russian. So it's a Russian mafia that wants revenge on her family. And so he takes her and holds her captive. So it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite movies. So this is so good. She's a ballerina. Like, it's just a fun time. She is very sunshine-y and he's very grumpy. Of course, not in the circumstances where she gets taken. She's not very sunshiny, but outside of the family she is. So yeah, this one's really good. I love it. The tropes, they're there. The spice is there. Oh, I love a good captive moment. Should probably see a therapist for that. Third one is Savage Lover. So this is another enemies to lovers romance. This is the story of Camille and Nero. Camille is a very tomboy. She is taking care of her sick father. Her brother is kind of like all over the place, and they own a mechanic shop that is kind of falling apart. And Nero is like the psychotic boy. I honestly think this is like high school. He is their next door neighbor, which is another really fun trope, and he does something and he helps her out of like a really sticky situation. So she feels like, oh my gosh, maybe I never knew him. Like, maybe he's like a little bit different than how he's portraying himself. This one's really fun. It's really cute because she is very like hard, like grumpy exterior. So she's not your typical like rom-com girl. She's got a lot of trauma and darkness to her. And so does he. So they kind of like bond in that way. But it's so fun. I love this series. I'm just gonna keep saying, like, this whole series is incredible. I don't have one book in this series that I've read so far that I didn't love. They're all so amazing. As I say that, this one was my favorite so far. I still have 2 more to go, but this one is Bloody Heart. This one, in the first 3 books, you're introduced to Dante, and Dante is like the older grumpy brother, and through the first 3 books, you see that he's so like miserable. He's so unhappy with his life, and he's so grumpy all the time. So you're sitting there thinking like, what happened to this man to make him so upset? So then he meets Simone, and Simone comes from a very like prim, proper family. Like, she's just very miserable. She's a goody two-shoes girl. So when they meet, he's like the bad boy, and they immediately have this attraction to each other that is just like, and they were young too. So this is kind of like high school-esque. and they like fall in love with each other. They have the sweetest romance ever, and their parents do not approve. They're like, absolutely not. This needs to end right now. This cannot happen, blah, blah, blah. So she ends up leaving. Like I can't remember why she leaves, but she ends up leaving and she disappears and he doesn't hear from her for years. Hence the first 3 books, why he's so miserable. The love of his life just like disappeared from thin air. He has no idea where she is. But then she ends up having a career path in modeling. So he like watches her from afar and he like never reaches out to her, like thinks she's happy, blah, blah, blah. So then she comes back. So she comes back into the town and she sees him, and that's when it just gets so good. So forbidden romance, second chance. I feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you the secret because the secret is a spoiler, but she kept a secret from him this whole time while she's been away. So when she comes back, he's just kind of like caught off guard. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, where have you been? Like, what's happening? He has no idea why she left. It's just, it's so good. Like, that's why I'm saying you need to read the series in order. You should read the series in order because the building, like the buildup of wanting to know what happened to him, and then you finally read it and it just like, that was dramatic, but literally it's so good. Yeah, this is my favorite so far in this series. So that is the Brutal Birthright series. She's got a lot of other mafia books. She's known to do like dark romance. So definitely check out her other books. So excited to read the rest of them, but these are what I've read so far. Next up is the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. If you love fairy tale retellings, this is definitely gonna be up your alley. Think of all of the fun, exciting, like fairy tale Disney movies that you watched as a kid, but instead, it's dark romance, but the bad guy gets the happy ending. Yeah, I feel like I've convinced you at that point. So far, there are 4 books out. I believe there is gonna be 6 total in this series, but as of right now, there's only 4. This series is not interconnected, so you can read these not in order. They have no relations to each other. You don't see any characters, like previous characters in any of the books, but I'm just gonna show you in like the way, in like the order that they came out. First one is Hooked. This one is a Peter Pan retelling, but the romance is with Wendy and Captain Hook. Yeah, it's good. James Hook owns a bar and she comes into it and he's like, holy guacamole, this girl is fine. And then he realizes who she is and he's like, light bulb, she would be the perfect person to get my revenge on because he like hates her father. And so he uses her as like a pawn in his revenge plan. And obviously slowly but surely it becomes a little bit more than that. And he starts to get some feelings for her, but this is good. This story is good. I love the little Easter eggs in this, like the little references based on like the actual original movie in this. It's just so much fun. They're told in like real time and like a mafia-esque type of thing. So it's not like a fairy tale, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this one was really good. I really enjoyed this one. It wasn't my favorite in the series, but it's definitely, I think it's like my second favorite. Next up is Scarred. This is a Lion King retelling, but it is with the girl and Scar. This one is told in like a fantasy type of way, like kings and queens. This is an arranged marriage trope. So she's supposed to be getting married to, I don't even know his name, but it's the Lion King. But I don't remember his name in it. But she is set to be marrying him, and Scar is the brother that is like troubled, like crazy, psychotic, insane. But for some reason, she's got a little craziness in herself too. So they kind of are drawn together. And it also has like a secret relationship type of thing because they start to sneak away from each other, and she starts to fall in love with him instead of who she's supposed to be getting married to. This one was really fun. This one wasn't my favorite, but I know this one's everyone's favorite in the series. So I'm totally biased, but give it a read. It's still so much fun. Again, the Easter eggs of like little bits and pieces from the actual movie, so fun. But this one's more like fantasy because it's definitely like castles and princes and kings and stuff like that. So this one's really cool. This one is my favorite so far. This is Wretched. This one is a Wizard of Oz retelling, but listen, this is like so different from your typical like bad guy, good girl. The female main character is the bad guy. She runs the mafia. Like, she is such a badass, and he is a undercover cop that joins the mafia, and he is trying to find out who the top guy is, and he has no idea that it's her. So she's insane. Like, there's parts, it's dual POV, all of this is dual POV, which is another thing that I really love. And the things that she does, like, all the guys are scared of her. Like, she's crazy. There's a scene in this where, is that appropriate for YouTube? I'm not gonna tell you. But he does something, and while he does something, he recites her poetry. Bye. A million stars. This one's so good. So this is the one that just came out, I think in February. This is Twisted. This is an Aladdin retelling. Oh, I forget his name. The bad guy in Aladdin, that's who it is. I'm so sorry, I'm like spacing the name right now. So it's a romance between them, but it's an enemies to lovers. So she absolutely cannot stand him, and it's an age gap too. But he is her dad's like right-hand man, like, oh, when he dies, he's taking over, like, you know, whatever. So her dad is on his deathbed, so he's about to pass away, and he's doing everything that he can to take over their family business before he dies. And the way that he does it is to like force Jasmine into an arranged marriage. And yeah, like I mentioned, they're all mafia like based. So this is like dad's best friend, age gap, arranged marriage, enemies to lovers. Like, this whole series is just like a big trope soup. Like, it's all the good stuff in a series, and it's like, Emily ate with this. She ate it and left no crumbs. So that is the Never After series. Literally obsessed with this. Like, if you're starting to get into dark romance, I think this is a great place to start. It is still very dark, so definitely still check your trigger warnings, but it's just so easy to follow and so much fun because it's like your favorite fairy tales, but dark. Come on now. Next up is the Monsters and Muses series by Savar Miller. This one is another interconnected series, so I definitely recommend reading these in order because you do see the characters like in the other books, but you don't have to. You can read them out of order. I actually did at one point because I was anticipating one certain book more than the others, but I did still read. I only read the first three, so I'm not really going to talk about these two, but this is the whole series that is out right now. I believe there is going to be another one. It's still an ongoing series, but this is what I have at the moment. So first book is Promises and Pomegranates. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. This one's really cool. This is an arranged marriage. He is a like professional like unaliver. Like, he goes and like, I forget what those people are called, but like if someone wants somebody unalived, they send him and he does it. And she is the daughter of a really like big mafia boss. So it's an arranged marriage. This one's actually pretty good. I gave this one 4 stars, I believe. There was a twist in this one that kind of had me a little uncomfy, me personally, but maybe to other people, no one really cares. But yeah, this one was really good. Liked this one. Has a bunch of fun tropes. It's a good time, and they're actually pretty short, so you can read these pretty quickly. They're not like super lengthy and boring. Like, there's so much that happens in this, and it's pretty fast paced, so love that. So this one is my favorite in the series. This is Vipers and Virtuosos. If you're a girly who was raised by Wattpad, this one's gonna be your favorite, I feel like. Not that the writing is Wattpad, it's just like the trope in it is Wattpad-ish. Because I grew up on fan fiction, okay? Harry Styles, Justin Bieber fanfics, all right? That's just what I know. best. And this is a rock star romance. So let me get comfy. Let me set the scene for you. Okay. You are on a school trip to New York City, and your so-called friends, or like your bunkmates in your hotel are like, hey, we're gonna go to this gala because we heard Aiden James, a popular rock star, is gonna be there, and we want to be there. And she's like, ew, I don't want to go, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And so then finally she gets all dressed up and she goes to the gala. Well, the gala is a charity type of thing, and it's like a bidding of whoever bids the most gets to take them out on a date. And she pulls up, Aiden sees her across the room, and he goes, that's who I want my money towards. I want to take her on a date. Are you joking me right now? You're telling me the most famous rock star ever wants to take little old Riley on a date? She could give 2 craps less of who this man is. That's a fanfic if I ever saw one, please. So pretty much Riley has her own backstory. She comes from something pretty dark and pretty traumatic. And so she spends the whole night with Aiden James, like spending the night with him, whatever. And something happens where she disappears. She's gone from the face of the earth. And in result of that, it screws over Aiden. So he is pissed. He is mad. He feels betrayed. She's gone, like left him with all of this like nonsense, whatever. So it's a part 1 and a part 2. So then you go to part 2, and he is like looking for her. Like he's like, I want my revenge. Like she is gonna pay, blah, blah, blah. So he finds her, and he kind of like stalks her for a while. And he like slowly tries to get his revenge on her. Yeah. Yeah, this one's really good. This was my favorite in the series. This is the one I was like, I have to read this one first, and then I'll read the other ones. But you do see Cal Anderson, the guy that's in the first book, that comes into here just briefly, nothing crazy. So you could read it out of order. But yeah, this was 5 stars. This had me questioning a lot that's going on up here, because this one's insane. So again, check trigger warnings, super dark, but I love a good rock star romance, especially when it's dark, and especially if it has some stalking. I need to stop talking. I'm really gonna get committed. Like someone's gonna watch this and be like, Miss Ma'am, you need help. Third book is Oath and Emissions. This is a fake dating trope. So she is like the good girl, like every girl wants to be her, every man wants to marry her, like obsessed with her. And she kind of has like a dark little twist to her that no one really knows about except for him. So he kind of sees something in her that is like, ooh, like you're not the goody two-shoes that everyone thinks you are. And they decide to play like a little game and fake date. I feel like it's like in betrayal of her father, because he's trying to put her in an arranged marriage that she's not okay with. So they fake date, and he also works for her father but is like trying to get out of it. It's like this whole thing. Again, there was a twist in this. It's not the main storyline, but like something does happen in this that again just did not sit well with me. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I can handle stalking, but like that part just kind of weirds me out. But it doesn't say it in the back, so I don't really want to spoil that. Anyway, you can just check the whatever trigger warnings or like content or whatever. But yeah, so this one was really good. I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars as well. Still, that second one is still my favorite. So yeah. So those were the first 3 that I've already read. As I mentioned, there's still 2 more that I need to read. This one is Arrows and Apologies and Souls in Sorrow. I'm not 100% sure what the tropes in these ones are, but this Savar Miller is phenomenal at writing dark romance. Like this is still such a fun, wild ride, and it's still an ongoing series and people eat it up. I've actually heard the one that just came out, Souls and Sorrows, is everyone's favorite, so I cannot wait to get to this one. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Mostly series, still such good dark romance books. I love these ones. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you've read them or if you have any other recommendations. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. I hope you all have the best day. Love you guys.